Good afternoon, my beautiful people. I'm Sotadeology. Today's video, I'm going to share with us Sotadeology. And Sotadeology is an artistic and scientific flipping mechanism of a system for a balanced solution of the universe. So this is a profound field. It's going to actually unify so many fields in science. So basically this field could give us the manifestation of visible phenomenon, and as well can give us the manifestation of invisible phenomenon. So what do I mean by that? We'll go deep into this. Now, Sotadeology is a field that I use to actually decipher the mystery of consciousness. And so I have series on Sotadeology where I explained the true nature of consciousness, and then I have series where I explain the interlocking of dimensions. And so I'm still going to explain the life field, the death field, and so many other things. So this is going to be a field that we actually reveal and explain the mystery of universe. So through the Sotadeology, we have a mathematical formalism, which is formula of everything, and by applying formula of everything, we have that solution of quantum mechanics to classical mechanics. So basically we have the unification of quantum mechanics to classical mechanics. So I'm still going to have another full version of this particular video where I can use time energy wave model and formula of everything to better illustrate this. So I just want to quickly or briefly give you introduction about Sotadeology and what it has solved in the universe. So now the first thing that we're going to dissect will now be the two types of flipping mechanisms that we have in the universe. We have dimensional flipping mechanism, then there is relativistic flipping mechanism. Now, dimensional flipping mechanism will allow for manifestation of structural formation that will give us the shape of objects in the universe. So basically by the virtue of that flipping mechanism, we can have the physical or have the visible representation of that object in form of its shape, in form of its structure. Then we have relativistic flipping mechanism. So this will allow for manifestation of mass worth, and that would be in form of smooth formalism or probably smooth structure. So now there is something I want you to know, and I'm going to quickly cite an example of the classical gravity. Now, what can we interpret classical gravity to be? We can actually interpret that to be constant deceleration of momentum right from the potential state, right from the high energy state of potential upliftment. So now, what do I mean by that? Classical gravity, we usually say we have free fall, but then that when you're having the free fall, you usually feel being you usually experience weightless phenomenon. But then, by being weightless shows that there is a constant deceleration. But by your experience, you might say that you are having a free fall, and that simply means that you are, accelerating downwards. You understand? But now, by the time we now explore and even dissect the flipping mechanisms, then we'll be able to understand and then get the invisible part of it. So now the visible experience that you can relate with people by having free fall would be you are accelerating downwards. But now, when you now think of the fact that as you are accelerating downward, you feel that weightless phenomenon, and then you know that there is a kind of eating phenomenon that you'll experience just as you'll experience the downward acceleration of going down, and that is constant deceleration. Now, this constant deceleration is synonymous to being in a gym center. There is this machine, the momentum of that machine's track is actually inversely related to your running posture. On that kind of machine, you see that you keep on running without moving an inch. So that is what we can actually call constant deceleration. You are moving without moving an inch. You are running on that particular machine, and yet you are running in one or on one spot. You are running on one spot. So basically, that is the kind of phenomenon we have in classical gravity, and it is the kind of phenomenon we have in quantum gravity. So now, for you to now get to know that there is a kind of mass formation that serves as resistance for that free fall, such that you could, feel that impact in form of weightless experience. So now, let's say the person that is actually falling from the height has a face cap. So for you to know that indeed there is a kind of arbitrary mass formation that serves as resistance that leads to you feeling being weightless, then when you take off that face cap and then you drop the face cap as you're dropping down, you will discover that the face cap will be going down relative to where it was released. From that position you release that face cap in the air relative to yourself, then the face cap will be suspended to you, and then you and the face cap will be going down at the same speed. And that is the effect of constant speed of gravity. And with that, you can see that the face cap is being suspended to yourself, and there you have relativistic flipping mechanism to actually manifest that arbitrary mass formation as a resistance for that downward momentum. So that being said, gravity is a constant. The classical gravity is a constant deceleration, while the quantum gravity is a constant acceleration. Now, quantum gravity is so tiny, because I know people might just want to ask that if we have that kind of inverse relationship happening at the same time, definitely the two phenomena will cancel out, and probably we might not have any gravity in place. But basically, quantum gravity is so tiny relative to classical gravity, so the experience might not be that elaborated for us to know. But basically, that is how we can manifest that constant deceleration of gravity. That's how we can get that. So now the reality is far beyond what we can see. So reality of this universe is beyond the limit of what we can see. And so Sotadeology could be used to reveal the parts that are invisible to our eyes. And so that Sotadeology field is so powerful. And from there we can see that relativity is so essential that we need to actually use its flipping mechanism to manifest mass formation as a resistance at quantum level for our classical free fall. So that is that. Another thing I want us to know is that complex system is so wide and it is, obtainable at quantum level, but not even restricted to quantum level. It travels beyond the quantum level. So now, if the quantum phenomenon that we have is operational on 2D, then before we can have the manifestation of electron, then the momentum from that 2D quantum level must transcend or transit to 3D because the manifestation of positron is what will lead to the manifestation of electron. So electron is right inside the nucleus, and so by using formula of everything, I realized that electron is not defined, and that could give us what is known as probability density. And that is the reason probability density will have to be positive. So what we have in the probability density at quantum level is that we have accumulation of mass formation, which is more or less like arbitrary or pseudo mass formation. So the mass formation or the mass formations are around the electron, but electron is not defined. So electron will be defined when there is this transition into the higher dimension, which is 3D in this case. And there we have degree of freedom and power, and there we have more space for manifestation of positron. And at the instant where we have the manifestation of positron, then we're going to have electron, and that is quantum entanglement for you. So the quantum entanglement solution or experience is right inside the nucleus of a substrate dimension to connect to the positron in the higher dimension. So there we can get to know the reason quantum entanglement is faster than the speed of light. And so right inside the nucleus, we know we have compacted equilateral triangle, and that is telling us that there is an adjustment to the speed. So now the constant speed at the speed of light suspension is different from the constant speed right inside the nucleus. So the speed inside the nucleus is faster, highly faster than that of the light suspension. So what that is telling us is that the energized speed is translated into arbitrary mass formation or pseudo mass formation, and that momentum is what we have as a standing wave, which at the point where it intersects the curvature of energy, then we're going to have a projection into the 3D where electron can be connected to positron, or where we can actually manifest positron to then define electron. So that is that about it. And even the issue of symmetric nature of the universe, that one too is right there. And then by applying formula of everything, we get to know that at quantum level, the symmetries are feasible. But at the wide space interval into the classical mechanics, then we have the fading of that symmetric nature of the universe to smooth transformation. So basically, that is that about the universe. Sotadeology is the field that explores and reveals the real reality of the universe. And that is why that field has to be studied all over the world. So that is that. I'm so happy to share this with you. I still remain my humble self, Sotadeology. So I need to introduce my research publication to you guys. I have research publication on this, and there you can get to know the derivation of formula of everything. I have it on ijser.org. You can get my research publication free of charge, and then conduct your own experiment or cite my research publication in your research. And then I have many books on Amazon. You can go to my Amazon author page to get my books. And then there are so many what is it called, quotes. I have many quotes on poemhunters.com. And another thing I need you to know is that the flipping mechanism is not only applicable to science, it's also applicable to literature, to poetry. We have palindromic poetry, so it's applicable. So that flipping mechanism phenomenon, we have it everywhere in the universe, and that is what defines the reality of the universe. So that is that, and that is one of the hidden secrets of the universe. Thank you. God bless you.